Alright, so I'll leave this one as a homework. If you don't do your homework, there will be very harsh penalty, alright? So now, I'll move on. So class, whether or not I explain this is a very, very important formula. Rather than I going over this and explain this, it's much more effective just to memorize this word per word. Alright? So class, take a screenshot and memorize this.
Okay.
I give you guys 20 seconds. Only 20 seconds. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright. Alright. Mr. Ivan. What was M equal N?
What do you mean?
What was M equals N? Oh my god, Mr. Ivan. Oh my god. Mr. Skyler.
I know.
What is it, Mr. David?
Y equals 0 is the horizontal asymptote.
Let's check it. Ah, Mr. David.
Ah,
It's AM divided by BN. Mr. David, you have failed me. You have failed me, Mr. David. Ah. So now we'll just solve a multi-step problem. A feed manufacturer wants to find the most efficient packaging for a can of soup with a volume of 342 cubic centimeter. Find the dimension of the can that has this volume and uses the least amount of material possible. So who can solve this problem for me?
you.
You? Who's you? I'm Mr. Bump, not you. You call your professor you? You? Mr. Skyler. Hmm?
Mr. Pumpsy can solve it.
Ah, Mr. Skyler, I respect your abilities to solve mathematic problems, but I do not respect your disrespectful attitude against me.
Let's continue, Mr. Bump.
Ah, alright. We're going to solve this problem. So now for this one, we need to write an equation. So, in terms of this radius, this soup container looks like one of those camper soup made by Andy Warhol. You know that famous drawing, right? It's a very good drawing. Anyways, the formula would be V equals pi r squared h. So we change V into V into 342. And then we make this question, we make it into equation and solve it for h. So it becomes 342 divided by pi r squared equals h. And then we write a function that gives the surface area S of the soup can. So in conclusion, it becomes 2 pi r squared plus 684 divided by r. This would be the function. And then we graph the area for the surface area. And then we get the minimum value. And then what we can find is that the soup using the least amount of material would be about 3.72 centimeters because that's the minimum value. And then it gets a height of about 7.58 centimeters following the function right over there. So the height and the diameter would be equal for this gun. So now we're going to talk about simplifying a rational expression. So these are some properties about how to simplify a rational expression. Alright, it's very simple. So when it's a division, AC divided by BC, we have this common constant of C. So we divide that because C divided by C equals 1. Then it becomes A divided by B. And then A divided by B times c divided by d. So this equals just the numerator would be multiplied with another numerator and the denominator denominator multiplied by another denominator. So it's AC divided by BD. Then if it's a division, we make C divided by D into reciprocal and then we multiply to just for the sake of being simple. So it becomes AD divided by BC. Alright class? Very simple, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know this, that means you're dumb. You need to memorize this because this will be on the finals, alright? Moving on. Now, we're going to talk about some addition and subtraction. It's an addition. If it's an addition and they have the same denominator, then it would be A plus B. And then if it's just subtraction, if it has the same denominator, and then it would be with the numerators A minus B. And for the same sake, if it's an addition, but if it has a different denominator, then we make it into the least common multiple. And then if we make it into the same denominator in that way, then we add it just like we did it in number 1. Very, very simple. Now we solve our rational equation following that way. Can anybody solve this rational equation in this class?
There's answer.
Oh my god! Mr. Ivan! When I told you to make this slide, I said the answer is always at the back, isn't it? Minus 10 point for you to make it like this. Oh my god, I cannot just accept it. Mr. Ivan?
Yes.
Why are you sleeping, Mr. Ivan? When I scold you, why aren't you replying to my questions?
You're boring, Mr. Bumsy.
You cancer! You pancho! Oh my god, Mr. Mr. Ivan. Now you make me be confused between Mr. Skylar and Mr. Ivan. After this class is over, after I get $400, I kick you out of my class. Now we're going to multiply and divide rational expression. So this is same thing as simplifying. This is just what we did in last class. Mr. Ivan, you put the same information in last class, and then you're telling me to start it again. Mr. Ivan, how inefficient is this slide? I told you I'd give you A plus to this one. No, I give you F. This is F. Oh my god.
It was intentional, Mr. Bumsy.
Why is it intentional?
I was trying to emphasize the key concept.
Mr. Ivan, you know what that is. You're just saying the same thing right now. You're just saying the same thing as, I didn't do my homework because my dog ate my homework. Alright?
Okay.
It's the same thing. Don't make those excuses again. If you make those excuses again, I kick you out of my class permanently. And your parents wouldn't like it. So this is just a simple skill practice. We're going to practice skills with this one. So is there anybody who can solve this one? Number 7. Can anybody solve number 7 in this class?
You have to factor first.
Alright, and then?
And then delete common factors.
That would be the procedure in normal. However, for this one, even though we factor, we cannot get the same values in the numerator and the denominator. So in conclusion, this would be the same format and it would be the same number, the same division. However, in number 14, when we do it, we can get the same values if we factor it with 3x in the numerator, and then we use the rule for the denominator, then we can get the answers. 14 and 17 will also be your homework along with the former one. So make sure you do those homework. Alright, class?
Okay.
Alright, Mr. Gunn?
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Skylar? Yes, you know it. I know it. So, with this one, now we will conclude our class. So today, we have learned about many different functions. We learned about rational functions, especially model inverse and joint variation. We have learned about comparing these many different types of variation along with joint variation. We learned about simple rational functions. And then we learned how to graph these general rational functions. And lastly, we have learned how to simplify these rational expressions in terms of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Alright? Alright, class?
Yes.
So make sure you pay your $400 by this evening. And then, good night. I hope you guys remember this. And then, if you don't remember it, if you messed up your finals, I'll make sure that you compensate for that loss. Alright?
Okay.
Dismiss.